Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to another video. Today's video, we're going to be talking about Mason Mount of Chelsea. Now, reports have been snowballing in recent days, weeks and months that he may be set to leave Chelsea at the end of this season. And yesterday, Fabrizio Romano put out a tweet basically stating that negotiations between him and Chelsea have seemingly stuttered in terms of a contract renewal, and that the chances of him leaving Stamford Bridge at the end of the season are increasing with each and every passing day. Mason Mount may himself be considering his options as well at the end of this current campaign, and obviously with a lot of changeover and turnover and the amount of changes that have been happening at Chelsea within this past year alone, obviously may factor in to those plans of both the club and the player. And one club in particular that's been strongly linked with signing him has been Liverpool Football Club. So in this video today, we're going to be talking about Mason Mount, about Chelsea, about the kind of player he is, the Fabrizio's tweet, and obviously Liverpool, should that transfer materialise, or maybe another club that may be waiting in the wings for him. But before we go any further, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things are always greatly appreciated. But for now, let's talk Mason Mount. Let's talk this possible materialising transfer story. Yesterday, of course, Fabrizio put out a tweet saying there's still a big gap in the negotiations between Chelsea and Mason Mount, as new deal is again far from being agreed. No final decision yet, but chances of Mason Mount leaving Chelsea are increasing. Mount will be on the market if new deal is not agreed before the summer. So of course what that's basically saying is Mason Mount is considering his options, and obviously the two clubs are considering their options because they're both far apart on these negotiations and what maybe Mason Mount wants in terms of maybe salary, or in terms of where the club is going, or in terms of stability within the Chelsea squad. Obviously, like I say, there's been a lot of change over in that squad this past year. Obviously, with Todd Boehly coming in, he's thrown his money around and has bought loads of new players in, and it doesn't like it's going to stop either at Chelsea. It looks like that massive spending spree is going to continue going forward into the summer, of course, when the transfer window does reopen. And of course, with that, there's also been a lot of talk of a complete overhaul of the current squad, getting rid of some of the dead wood. A lot of players have seemingly been put up for sale by the club, or seemingly on the chopping block list to get rid of, and Mason Mount might be one of those players. And especially because obviously his contract does run out next year, obviously that increases his chances, especially if they cannot reach an agreement on a new deal. So that's what we know. We know that obviously his contract is running down, his contract is dwindling and entering its final year, and obviously with that, Chelsea would be looking to cash in on him whilst they have the opportunity to do so. It might be a bit of a cut price from what you might expect a player like Mason Mount to go for, but that could obviously open the door for an opportunity for a number of teams to pounce. One of those teams that could be pouncing is my club, Liverpool. Now, it's no secret that he has been linked for a long time with the Reds. I remember reading a few months ago, there was talks about how Klopp admires him. Klopp really likes his style, the way he plays and everything. And obviously, he does kind of fit in with that industrious midfield, hard-working style that, of course, Jurgen Klopp would genuinely like and prefer. It hasn't gone down too well with the Liverpool fan base. The Chelsea fan base are seemingly getting tired of him, or at least the majority are seemingly getting tired of Mason Mount. They question what he does at times and what exactly he brings to the table. What I've seen from watching him is that he is a hard-working midfielder, very professional. Those are the two factors that, in my opinion, have caused him to be liked by so many managers that he's played under in recent years, whether it be Frank Lampard, of course, or whether it be, from a Chelsea point of view, of Lampard bringing him into the squad more, and then, of course, with Thomas Tuchel, and then with Graham Potter. His professionalism and hard work seems to be traits that have let their manager take a shine to him, and even on an international stage with Gareth Southgate, he does seem to be a key player for Southgate in that regard because of those qualities that he does tend to show consistently throughout his career. And they're commendable, they are respectable, and obviously, like I say, that's what takes a big shine to it. And obviously, with his hard work, that's why Jurgen Klopp has taken a shine to him, obviously. But like I say, he's not the most technically gifted player on the planet. He's not the most creative. His goals and assists, he does pop up with a few important goals every now and again, and his assists are can be pretty good as well. He does create a fair few amount of chances from what I've seen. And he is very versatile, and I'll go back to this again. My point on versatility is, I think to make it at a top level, to make it at a top club, you need versatility in your game, and he's got versatility in abundance. He can play multiple different positions. Whether they're sustainable or not is another factor, but he can play in multiple positions. He can play in multiple different roles across those positions. And he'll always give it 100%. That's what I've always seen from him. He works very hard, and he does give 100%, and that's necessarily the bare minimum of what you expect from this kind of player. But at the same time, it's better than what most people or some people do tend to show. And not only that, but he is consistent. He is consistent in the way that he is punctual. He is he very rarely I think he's injured right now, but looking back over his record from his time at Chelsea, he very rarely misses the games. He'll miss the odd one or two here and there, but he's very rarely missed games. And I think if Liverpool are to sign him, then it actually makes sense that they would go with a midfielder who works hard and obviously very rarely gets injured. But at the same time, like I say, it just hasn't gone down too well with the Liverpool fan base, or at least not from the fans that I've seen. Fans have been sort of putting this transfer down a little bit. They don't seem to be best pleased with this kind of transfer. It does seem like a bit of an alternative from a star player, and my argument to that is you don't necessarily need star players. You don't need to spend too much money on players. You can always find gems from having spent less money. And I think, like with Mason Mount in particular, he fits the mould of a Jurgen Klopp player. Like I say, he's hardworking, he's got Premier League experience, so he knows the league very well. Obviously won the Champions League, so he's got winning experience there. 1 year down on his 1 year entering into the final year of his contract, he could be available at a cut deal price. Obviously, massive overhaul at Chelsea could also factor in on that, so they might be looking to shift him on should obviously a contract negotiation not be reached and a new contract not be finalised. It does fit in with a type of Liverpool player. It does fit in with a typical kind of Liverpool player, and obviously Liverpool are going to be in need of looking for midfielders. Oxlade-Chamberlain doesn't look like he's going to be re-signing. Naby Keita doesn't look like he's going to be re-signing, and obviously that midfield has been a major problem for Liverpool throughout this entirety of the season. And Mason Mount could come in and instantly make a bit of a difference to that Liverpool team in terms of strength and depth, and obviously strength on the pitch. I'm not completely against this, but I would be disappointed if this is going to be the only midfield addition. I don't think it will be. I think Liverpool will have to look at rebuilding this midfield entirely. I'm not completely against it because he has shown that he has got some level of creative ability that might be above and beyond what Liverpool currently have at their disposal right now, with obviously the exception of maybe Thiago. Obviously, the way that he very rarely gets injured, although that could easily change within the time it takes him to get to Liverpool, if obviously that transfer does materialise, is also a big factor. His consistency in the Chelsea team at times, obviously even on the bench, so to speak, lack of injuries, that kind of thing is a big factor in my opinion, and something that Liverpool definitely do need. I'm not completely against it. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not completely against it. It's not the most exciting transfer. It's not a transfer that's going to make me get out of my seat and go, whoa, this shows that Liverpool mean business. He is very typical and very easily comparable, should I say, to a Jordan Henderson type midfielder. Hard-working, box-to-box, gives 100%. But seemingly can be frustrating at times. And what I've seen from the Chelsea fan base is that they get easily frustrated by Mount at times. Bit of an scapegoat at times, maybe. But even so, still sort of frustrating, especially if the team doesn't perform that well or he's having a bad game or whatever it may be. And I feel like, obviously, the Liverpool fan base has been known to do that in the past, and I myself maybe guilty of that a little bit as well, but it's an interesting one. It's definitely an interesting one. There's also rumours that Erik ten Hag is interested, maybe going to Manchester United, obviously to beef up their midfield as well. Might not necessarily be a bad thing for him either, obviously with that rebuild. But it will be interesting to see what the future holds for Mason Mount. Will he re-sign with Chelsea? Like Fabrizio Romano says, it's looking increasingly unlikely that that will happen and that he may actually be leaving Chelsea along with like 12 other players maybe this summer as Chelsea continue to try and rebuild and obviously under Todd Boehly continue to put this master plan into action, put the wheels in motion on this whole long-term project thing. But like I say, I'm not completely against him coming to Liverpool if that's obviously going to be the case. I think he does fit. He does have the qualities and does fit into this Jurgen Klopp system. It's just whether or not, obviously, that will materialise. It's whether or not another team might be waiting in the wings. Like I say, Manchester United waiting. He would fit in with Erik ten Hag as well. Erik ten Hag in that midfield, hard-working midfield again. That one could be interesting to see if that one does materialise. I doubt it. I bet United have probably got other players in the pipeline and other players that they're looking at. But in terms of Mason Mount, look, 11 goals and 10 assists last season is pretty good numbers for a midfielder in his position, in his squad. I think obviously if Chelsea probably had a more recognised and better striker at their disposal, I think his numbers would be much more improved this season. He's had 3 goals and 2 assists this season. He tends to get like 6 goals and 6 assists. I think that was the season before last, and I think he got like 7 goals and 6 assists the season before that, or maybe the other way around, I'm not sure. So his numbers are fairly decent, and I think in a squad that will have better finishers, better attackers, maybe he can boost those numbers up, and especially at Liverpool where you've got the likes of Mohamed Salah, you've got Darwin Núñez finding his feet, you've got Diego Jota, Luis Diaz. He might obviously improve those numbers, Cody Gakpo as well, fitting into a squad that is obviously in transition with the age bracket, sort of getting younger a little bit. It could fit in well with Liverpool. It won't be the most exciting. It won't be the most astonishing or the most groundbreaking signing. But it could be a smart one and one that I'm not completely against. But like I say, Liverpool, if they do make this move, will have to build on that and build on it big time. More than Mason Mount. It's got to be more than just this player. But those are my thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings on this particular topic. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of, obviously, Mason Mount? Do you think he'll go to Liverpool at the end of this season? Or will he re-sign with Chelsea as part of this long-term project? Or will there be another club waiting in the wings to sign this player? I'd like to know what you guys think. I'd love to know what your guys' thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, are on this particular topic down below in the comment section, because I'm sure it'll make for interesting reading. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always and forever greatly appreciated, and as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch, this has been another Fletch Talks video, and I'll see you all again soon in another video.